Hello, friends. Imagine a car where you have to search for the door handle somewhere near the floor at knee height, and a bank card barely fits into the glove compartment. Moreover, the cup holder is not on the side of the seat but behind your back. Strange, isn't it? Today, friends, we will tell you about the most expensive and luxurious car of the last 50 years. Specifically, about the Lamborghini brand. When talking about one of the most expensive cars in the history of humanity, it's impossible not to delve into the biography of its creator. The father of the Lamborghini brand is considered the Italian industrialist and businessman Ferruccio Lamborghini. As often happens, Ferruccio was born in 1916 into a family of ordinary farmers. Since childhood, his father accustomed him to work on the farm and instilled a love for various mechanisms. Whenever something broke, whether it was a simple grain crusher or a hand tool, Ferruccio was there with his father, helping with the repairs. By the age of 12, his parents noticed that the boy was very interested in small metal parts, skillfully crafting something all the time. Seeing his son's passion in one of the farm sheds, the father even created a small workshop for Ferruccio, equipped with all the necessary tools for construction. That's how the boy gradually began casting various parts for working machinery. One ordinary day, Ferruccio was working in the workshop as usual. Suddenly, during the casting of one of the parts, a spark fell on the wooden floor, and it ignited within seconds. Only by a miracle, his father was nearby and quickly figured out what to do, thus saving the farm from a major fire. Despite such an incident, Ferruccio did not abandon his passion but continued to pursue it. After completing school, he enrolled in a technical university where he easily absorbed knowledge in casting and welding. With a professional license in hand, he immediately joined local forges, and in 1932, he became an apprentice to the blacksmith Guy Frioli. Gaining 2 years of experience and practice, by 1934, he changed jobs and joined one of the workshops in the city of Bologna, working directly with the military. It's worth noting that Ferruccio was passionate about his work. Besides bringing him a modest income, he genuinely enjoyed it, which was probably the main factor. It was his love for the craft that would shape his future career. Building connections and learning the blacksmith trade, Ferruccio returned to his hometown of Cento after a year. There, the young craftsman opened his own workshop with his friend Marino Filippini. They were both only 19 years old. However, they could only work together briefly until they were both drafted into the army in 1939. Until 1934, Ferruccio worked for the benefit of the army, independently repairing military equipment of both domestic and foreign production. This circumstance greatly helped the young man, as he gained experience that he would never have acquired in university. In 1943, the island of Rhodes, where Ferruccio served, was captured by the Germans. Learning that by the time of the capture, he was the head of the workshop and the personal mechanic of senior staff, the Germans, without hesitation, gave him a choice: prison and death, or work as the chief mechanic for repairing German equipment. Of course, Ferruccio chose the latter. Even when the war ended and the island became part of England, the talented master continued to live there until 1946. After that, he finally decided to return to his homeland. He tried to apply the knowledge gained on the front to real civilian life. Upon returning to his hometown, he never sat idle for a day. Orders came one after another, and by the end of 1947, there was not a single piece of farm equipment in his city to which Ferruccio had not lent a hand. Realizing that his knowledge and labor were in demand, he gathered all his savings and borrowed a part of the sum from his parents. In 1948, he founded the company Lamborghini Trattori S.p.A., working diligently to simplify the lives of local farmers by providing them with a machine that would perform some of the complex work for them. How strange it may sound, but within just a year of work, he invented the first vehicle for the company. Thus, in 1949, Lamborghini Trattori released its first self-produced tractor. The engine was taken from a military truck, and Ferruccio had to design the fuel tank with the vaporizer himself. Overall, almost all elements were borrowed or adapted in their own way. The first few tractors were offered to local farmers, and they were so satisfied with the work of the mechanic engineer that they placed about a dozen more orders within a few months. Within a year, the number of orders for Lamborghini tractors was so large that the company could not keep up with production. Of course, expansion was necessary. Ferruccio lacked both hands and space for production, not to mention the most crucial aspect, the components for assembly. At the age of 35, he had made a profound decision. He knew he wanted to be involved in the manufacturing of machinery for the rest of his life, so he took a risky step. Through his father, he secured a loan from a local bank, using the entire family farm and the tractor production workshop as collateral. Yes, it was a risky venture, but he was confident. With the round sum he received, he purchased 1,000 new engines from Morris, intended for future tractors. In the first year alone, about 50 units of the new equipment were sold. And in the next year, 250. The Lamborghini tractor was in demand due to its low price, simplicity of design, and ease of maintenance. Any young boy could repair it. The company developed rapidly. In the post-war years in Italy, working the land was almost the only way to survive. The number of employees grew each year, as did the equipment, which was replaced with new and more high-quality machinery almost every 2 years. Until 1960, Ferruccio successfully engaged in the tractor business until he decided to expand his business. In that year, he opened another profitable enterprise, Lamborghini Bruciatori, which developed boilers, heating and cooling systems, and provided maintenance services for them. Thanks to this, Italy gradually transitioned from coal heating to gas. The revenue from the two enterprises was very good, and overall, due to the coordinated work of the entire team and all the employees, Italy's war-torn economy began to slowly recover. And now, friends, we have probably reached the main question. How did Ferruccio come to the production of cars? It's quite simple. Despite his professional interest in the tractor business, Ferruccio was also a car enthusiast. He often improved his existing cars, adding his own developments. For example, the first car in Ferruccio's hands was a Fiat 500 Topolino. But the businessman's heart belonged to sports cars. The first such car was an Alfa Romeo 1900 Sprint. In 1955, he decided to purchase a Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. However, quickly becoming disillusioned with it, he sold it. The reason for such frequent changes, as later recounted by the founder's son after his father's death, was the numerous flaws that only surfaced during operation. And this was not exclusive to Ferrari or Maserati. According to Ferruccio, every car was imperfect. At different times, he owned several Maserati 3500 GTs and Jaguar E-types. But he favored Ferrari 250 GT in various modifications the most. By the way, it was the ownership of Ferrari that prompted Ferruccio to develop his first car. Or rather, what happened one fine day. In response to how the first Lamborghini car came about, Ferruccio Lamborghini's son provided an answer after his father's death. It all started when Ferruccio once went to the Ferrari factory to complain about the quality of the clutch in his Ferrari 250 GT. My father just wanted to talk to Enzo and perhaps even suggest and help him solve this problem. But, to his surprise, the fiery Enzo sent my father back to where he came from with a suggestion to continue dealing with his tractors, calling him a provincial farmer because, according to Enzo, he understood nothing about cars, especially sports cars, Ferruccio's son revealed in one of the interviews. Angry and humiliated, Lamborghini returned to the factory. There, with the chief engineer of the plant, he disassembled the transmission in his Ferrari 250 GT and discovered that many components were the same as those used in Lamborghini tractors. He simply found a suitable replacement in his own inventory, and after assembly, the problem was solved. It was then that Ferruccio made a promise to himself to teach Enzo Ferrari the lesson. And Ferrari had no idea how far Ferruccio would go to teach him a lesson. Enthralled with the idea of creating his own high-speed car, Ferruccio quickly realized what it should be equipped with. The engine was developed with the help of Giotto Bizzarini, who had previously worked at Ferrari. They made the clutch identical to the tractor's, and designer Franco Scaglione helped turn the idea of creating the body into reality. In 1963, Ferruccio opened another company dedicated to car manufacturing, named Ferruccio Lamborghini Automobili. The first cars of his company made their debut at the Turin Motor Show in 1963, where the groundbreaking Lamborghini 350 GTV stole the spotlight. Ferruccio made it clear that his car was not designed for racing and competition, but for a good ride and pleasure. Interestingly, the car was only partially ready for its first appearance. However, after receiving several dozen orders in May 1964, its design was refined, and serious production began. At the next Turin Motor Show, another car model, the P400, was presented. However, Ferruccio was not particularly satisfied with it. After refining it by 1966, he released a new improved version with a new name, the Miura. Its success was unexpected. In just a couple of years, 764 units of the new car were sold. The price of the car at that time was no less than $20,000 per unit, firmly placing it in the luxury category. However, even this moment did not deter true car enthusiasts. Thanks to such sales, Lamborghini quickly surpassed Ferrari, leaving it far behind. With such success, Lamborghini's car market gradually expanded with new models. In the early 70s, models like the Acelero S and the Jarama 400 GT were introduced. The latter was more widely known as Ferruccio's personal Rolls-Royce. The lineup was also enriched with off-road vehicles like the Cheetah, primarily developed for sale to the U.S. Armed Forces. However, another successful car with unusual design features and scissor doors was the Lamborghini Countach, a model that could reach speeds of up to 300 km per hour and became the first supercar in the Guinness Book of Records. The production of Countach continued until 1990. In 1979, a more advanced version, the Countach LP400S, was released with a 455 horsepower engine, marking the first four-valve engine in the history of the brand. Surprisingly for everyone, not only did automotive engineering rise to the forefront, but also tractor engineering. Ferruccio decided to step down from the leadership position. The reason was the termination of the contract for the supply of agricultural machinery to South America. This plunged the company into a crisis, and according to Ferruccio, there was only one way out. He managed to sell part of the company's shares to René Leimer and Georges Henry in 1972. The oil crisis of 1973 became another confirmation of the correctness of his decision. Moreover, all tractor production gradually fell into the hands of the Italian conglomerate Sem Deus Facli Group. By 1974, he completely sold all shares and used the proceeds to buy a villa in Castiglione del Lago, where he began growing grapes and making wine, leading a peaceful life. There, he also manufactured golf cars and even once personally assembled a car for Pope John Paul II. Since Ferruccio Lamborghini's departure from the company, several more models have been released, becoming iconic in the automotive world. For example, the Countach LP400 in an updated design with a power of now 375 horsepower, and the Silhouette, a two-seater coupe with a Targa roof. However, despite the launch of new models, Lamborghini could not avoid financial difficulties. Unfortunately, due to problems with roads, cars lost their popularity. Yes, and disruptions in the supply of spare parts and components left their mark on the company's condition. All these seemingly minor troubles led to Lamborghini declaring bankruptcy in 1978. All shares were put up for auction, where they were acquired by the Mimram brothers. A couple of years later, the company fell into the hands of the Chrysler Corporation, under whose leadership an improved model of the Lamborghini Countach was released, bearing the memorable name Diablo. However, even this couldn't save Lamborghini from accumulating financial problems. Once again, Lamborghini changed hands, This time, a significant investment group from Indonesia called MTEX acquired all the shares, and Tommy Soeharto became the new director. Despite his efforts, he couldn't develop something progressive and relevant, but he did manage to add to the company's debts with ease. Unable to withstand pressure from competitors, Lamborghini changed ownership again in 1998. The new and final majority shareholder became the Audi AG conglomerate. It was Audi AG that successfully and productively organized all of Lamborghini's production. Under its influence, the design of the cars underwent significant changes, making them more versatile, modern, and stylish. Thanks to Audi AG's efforts and finances, Lamborghini's entire range of cars is considered a symbol of a luxurious lifestyle worldwide. Exclusive components are specially ordered for them, and unique, expensive designs are conceived and brought to life, captivating thousands of buyers from around the world. In 2001, a new model named Murcielago was released, selling 400 units. In the same year, the Lamborghini History Museum was ceremoniously opened, and it continues to operate to this day. Visitors can not only learn about the brand's history, but also sit in each car that has become iconic over the centuries. 10 years later, Lamborghini's model range was expanded with another new specimen, the Lamborghini Aventador, accelerating to 100 km per hour in just 3 seconds. Since 2014, another model, the Lamborghini Huracan, has been produced, significantly enriching the collection of sports car enthusiasts. 3 years later, in 2017, the Lamborghini Urus, an SUV distinguished by its larger size and color palette, was released. Many are aware that Lamborghini cars are often seen in the Arab Emirates, where the police calmly patrol the streets in them. Similarly, in the Italian police force, Lamborghinis are used to transport donor organs. However, the most interesting specimens can be seen in the Vatican at St. Peter's Square. The police often use cars more reminiscent of Golf-class Lamborghinis for chasing potential criminals, since among large crowds of tourists, such a vehicle is much more convenient and maneuverable than a supercar. To this day, Lamborghini's logo has not undergone any changes. The golden color of the logo has been demonstrating the manufacturer's superiority and rich traditions since 1963. However, few know why Ferruccio chose this symbol. The choice was influenced by the fact that Ferruccio Lamborghini, according to his zodiac sign, was a Taurus and believed that, thanks to Taurus's influence on the formation of his character, he was able to achieve such success. He always pushed forward, even where, initially, all doors seemed closed. Remarkably, in just 9 years of running the company, Ferruccio managed to change the automotive world completely, incorporating some of the knowledge gained from his experience in the tractor business into sports car production. Ferruccio Lamborghini managed to realize almost all of his dreams. He wanted to surpass Enzo Ferrari in everything, and he did. He even wanted to live longer than him. When Enzo Ferrari passed away at the age of 90, Ferruccio firmly decided to live to 91, surpassing him in that as well. However, life has its own rules and orders, and unfortunately, it was not destined to happen. Ferruccio Lamborghini died on February 20, 1993, at the age of 76, leaving an indelible mark on the history of car manufacturing. Since the first Lamborghini-branded car appeared, a total of 23 different models have been produced, including the latest ones. For example, the Aventador Miura model was released in a limited edition of only 50 cars. And by the way, it turned out to be a very generous investment for true enthusiasts of this brand. After all, the value of this model increases every year by at least a couple of million. Even sitting in the cabin in complete silence, you can easily feel how the car almost silently glides before your eyes. Ferruccio Lamborghini, from the very beginning, set a rule that his cars would not participate in races. Therefore, during his leadership, the company did not produce racing cars. However, under Rossetti's leadership, the company, along with BMW, decided to create a car suitable for racing. However, Lamborghini did not fulfill its part of the task, and the car was entirely developed by BMW's sports department. It was later produced and sold as the BMW M1. In 1986, to participate in Group C competitions, the company created the Lamborghini QVX. The car was built, but sponsorship problems forced skipping the season. The QVX participated only in one non-prize race at the Kyalami circuit in Johannesburg in 1986 under the management of Tiffany Dell. Despite the car showing a fairly decent result, the financing program was discontinued. From 1989 to 1993, Lamborghini supplied V12 engines for Formula One cars. In 1991, Lamborghini fielded its own team in races, which lasted only one season. In 2014, a student from Staffordshire, Mark Hostler, even created a conglomerate in memory of Ferruccio, called Lamborghini Ferruccio, dedicated to the 50th anniversary of the Lamborghini brand. In general, this is the amazing world of these beautiful and super cool cars. The amazing world of Lamborghini sports cars developed by an ordinary farmer's son and later a tractor manufacturer. And it's even hard to believe that if not for Enzo Ferrari's harsh words, if not for clutch problems on Ferruccio's car, the world would probably never have seen these cars that today are the epitome of luxury, success, and beauty. Well, as usual, it's worth adding that all big things always start small. Whether it's a simple desire to create something with your own hands or just words thrown to the wind. Friends, perhaps that's all for today. Share your opinion in the comments about this amazing story, also rate the video, and until next time.